I'm about to leave. Mama's making eggs that I prepared for her. I have to give her her drops 4 times a day. Homer is his drops 3 times a day. And one of the drops is the same. It's Axe, flaxen, something like that. Whatever. It's the same for both of them. So that hot car death thing, I was, I don't know. Not exactly enlightened, because I don't know what I really believe. Because if we want to be blunt here, very, 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 very times very few parents leave their kids in the car. So there are people, advocates, we want a law that it dings and goes off if you leave your kid in the car. But car manufacturers understandably saying, well, you know what? We don't want to pay for that. Consumers don't want to pay for that. It's actually, hot car deaths are very, very rare. They're just so horrific that people are like, well, blah, 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 we need a law. I don't foresee a law coming anytime soon, okay? The fact is, if we want to be blunt, hot car deaths, where parents actually forget their kids are in the car and leave them there to die horrific death, like recently happened with this guy in New York with his twins. And do I believe he did it intentionally? No, in a million years. Do I believe he did it intentionally? I do not. But we have to not gloss over the fact that it very rarely happens. So even if you didn't do it intentionally, maybe you should be held responsible and maybe you shouldn't. I don't really know. It's not black and white. But what I do know is this. The car manufacturers are saying, number one, they're like, when I read it, they're like, only a certain small percentage of our new car buyers have kids under 6 years old, number one. And number two, consumers don't want to pay for it because they all think, oh, it could never happen to me. But what we really have to focus on is it very rarely happens. Pool deaths very rarely happen, okay? So the people it happens to can say, oh, it can happen to anybody. Well, I'm not so sure about that, but I'm not a parent, so I don't know. I am not in a million years saying that most hot car deaths, oh my God, they are accidental. No question that they're accidental. And my thing was like, punish them, and maybe it won't happen. And then we have Inside Edition is forgotten child syndrome or whatever. But we cannot gloss over the fact that it very rarely happens, see? Just like it very rarely happens that parents run over their precious children in the driveway and kill them. You know what I mean? It very rarely happens, and we can't make a law for everything. Do I think it will become a law? No, I don't. I don't, because it doesn't happen enough. Seatbelt things, oh yeah, that saves a shitload of lives. But very few parents, I'm sorry, they all can say, oh, you can do it, and you can do it, and it can happen to anybody, and forgotten child syndrome and whatnot. And to me, the numbers speak for themselves. It very rarely happens. And as I sarcastically say, most of us grow up and we don't drown in a fucking pool. Most of us grow up and we don't die in a hot car death. So, I don't know that they're going to would I be upset if they made a law? Of course I don't give a fuck either way. You know what I mean? But I don't foresee them making a law. And I read between the lines, and I read the car manufacturers like, they point blank say consumers don't want to pay for this extra service because they know they wouldn't happen to them, and most of the time it probably wouldn't. But the numbers are what matter, and in the end, they're not going to make a law when it's not that many. It's not that many hot car deaths. They're horrific. Oh yeah, they're horrific. No question about that. They are horrific. And they're like, well, why do you want to say, oh, punch the parents and put them in jail for the hot car deaths and not for the pool deaths? And I believe it too. It's because they say it online. I read it. I'm mentally ill, not stupid. Not even remotely. Even the woman who gives me my friggin' Brazilians was like, you would be better off if you were less intelligent, Laura. Less aware. Better off and less intelligent. I'm sorry, better off if I was less intelligent, less aware, but I am not, unfortunately. So there you have it. I read shit and they point blank say very few, like they point blank say for numbers, there's only a small percentage of new car buyers have kids under 6. Basically they're saying that they're not going to do a law and have this, but there are people advocating, we need a law. We need a law. We need a law that the tar will go bah, 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 if there's a child inside. Do I foresee that happening? No, I do not. Because there's not enough hot car deaths to warrant it. I mean, in their eyes, in my eyes, it could be one and, yeah, do with the law, but you know what I mean. It's all about money. It's all about whatever. I'm being objective here, okay? But I will admit that I read online. I try to be not black and white. I try to read between the lines, and they say, well, the reason this keeps happening is because people think it can't happen to them, and they won't blah, blah, blah. I think parents, because waiting for this law to happen, they need to think it could happen to me. I need to stick my stupid bullshit cell phone in the back, and I'll never forget my phone, and I'll never forget my kid, if we want to be really sarcastic here, because it's the truth. And I read online, same people saying they weren't being politically correct. They're like, kids are drowning in pools because of our smartphone age, our internet age, where people aren't aware and they don't care and they're obsessed with their phones and, I still have a flip phone. I'm in the dark ages. Anyway, I thought I would point that out because on the surface it seems like, oh yeah, have a law. And I see it on Inside Edition. I see it on World News Tonight. I forget which one, probably Inside Edition, but whatever. It might be both. Have a law. If you've left your kid in the car, but no, like the car manufacturers point out, people don't want to pay for that, number one. And number two, very few car buyers have kids under 6. So we're not going to do a law for a handful of, it's very rare that this happens. And I still go back to the same thing. Yeah, it was an accident, but... And then we remember that father years ago, you could think it was an accident, he's crying or whatever, and then when they investigate, he went out to his work halfway through, and they saw on his internet, on his computer, that he had investigated how long will it take a kid to die in his car. I'll never forget that. How long will it take a kid to die in a hot car? And he was screwed, and he's in jail, But most of them, oh yeah, they're accidents. I believe the one in New York was an accident. But still, negligence is not you did it intentionally. Negligence is, and then they're like, oh, it's forgetful. You can forget your keys as much as your kid. And most people aren't buying that, me included. But in any case, when you do that, I think you should be held responsible. Not because you did it on purpose, but because, it doesn't happen to most people. And we can't deny that. Most of us grow up without drowning in pools, without dying a horrific death in a hot car. Come on. But would I like to see that law happen? Sure. Do I believe it will? No, because there's not enough numbers. There's not enough. It doesn't happen to enough kids, you know what I mean? But would I care either way? No. I know it's all about money in this world, I know for most people it's all about money, because despite what too many people want to believe to the contrary, I am really fucked in the head beyond belief, but smart. Even abusive Donald. Acknowledge that one. Bye.